Hi, I'm Mark Hancock, CEO of Trail Life USA. I want to share with you a secret about 3 questions that boys are always asking. And if you're a leader of boys in any way, a Sunday school teacher or a coach, or you have one of those critters living in your home, you'll want to know that these questions are always running through your boy's mind. And this is what he's asking, particularly if he's in a group of boys. They're asking this question: who's in charge? Who's with me? And what is our mission? And if you can answer those 3 questions for a boy, you've got his heart. Now look at people who do that really well. The military does that really well. Who's in charge? They set a hierarchy. They know who they answer to, and they know who answers to them. Boys love that. We do that in Trail Life USA. We break our boys up into patrols, and they elect leaders because they know Billy's in charge. And it forms sort of a gyroscope. These 3 questions create this gyroscope that God has put in boys to keep them from running themselves off of cliffs and things. It's sort of a thing to keep them as wild as boys can be, and that's wonderful. It keeps them kind of in the same place. So if they know who's in charge, they will follow after that leader because they want to be part of that group. And in order to be part of the group, they've got to follow the same leader. So who's in charge? Who's with me? They like to know who it is that they're with. That's why in the military they'll put uniforms on them. In Trail Life we'll put uniforms on them. But we'll also break them up into these smaller patrols that they'll name themselves, the wild chickens or the red dragons or whatever they are. These patrols will have names because we want them to identify with something bigger than themselves. And that helps with that gyroscope. They're identifying with something bigger than it is that they are, and they are a member of that thing. It develops a sense of pride, identity, all those things. This is who I am. I am part of the purple dragons or the yellow gerbils or whatever they are. They know where they fit. So who's in charge? We set that up, hierarchy. They love that hierarchy. They like to know who's in charge. Who's with me? Who are the folks that I can count on, that I'm a part of, that I identify with? And the third question, what is our mission? If we don't set a clear mission for boys, it's really difficult in our culture today because we expect so little from boys. But if we don't set clear missions for boys, they will develop a mission of their own, and it typically isn't ours. It's something else that they would do. I talk to substitute teachers all the time, and they say, yeah, this is true. I walk into the room and I'll announce, hey, I'm your substitute teacher for the day. And the girls will be like, okay, what are we gonna do? And the boys are like, all right. Because the boys need to know, can you handle us? Can you be in charge? Because I know these guys in the classroom, they will burn this place down if you are not in charge. I need you, substitute teacher, to be in charge. And so when we set up that kind of environment where they know who's in charge, they know who's with them, and they know what their mission is, they line up in that place. Now, who else is really good at this? And this is shocking, this is a sad truth, is gangs. Who's in charge? Very clear hierarchical structure. Who's with me? Colors, gang signs, everything they do to identify with each other. What is our mission? Very clear mission. Those boys in a gang will die for that gang because they're answering those questions so clearly. They will go to jail for that gang because that gang has answered those questions clearly, and they own the heart of that boy. When I was a youth pastor, I couldn't get kids to show up on a Wednesday night if there was a new Marvel movie out. I didn't have that kind of commitment that a gang will have. I guarantee you, they're going to show up at that gang meeting if there's a Marvel movie out. So answering these 3 questions is a way that you own the heart of the boy, and that's how they identify with something bigger than they are, and it keeps them from creating their own thing, because if you don't set up clearly who's in charge, one of them will decide that they're in charge, and it looks like rebellion. If you don't tell them this is who you're with, they will form a clique or a gang or a group of boys, and they may not be on your team. And if you don't set for them a clear mission that they're doing together and give them charge over that mission, they will develop their own mission, and it's very unlikely to be yours. So those 3 questions boys are always asking: who's in charge? Who's with me? What is our mission? Answer those questions, and you'll own the heart of that boy. Now, what does this look like in a home? Well, the father is in charge of that home. So he's setting the tone for that home. He's showing those boys how to love a woman, how to love their mother, how to behave in the family, how our family shows up. That when we ask them to do something, obedience is first time. We obey first time. You set up those sorts of standards, and the boys begin to respect. Okay, when dad says something, he means it. And that's so important. In order to establish that clear leadership in the home, the father has to say what he means and mean what he says, and keep that kind of consistency, because the boys will follow after a consistent leader. So that's how the father establishes that leadership culture in his home. Now, in the same way, who's with me in a household? Well, all families have their own rules. They're kind of conducted in different ways. And talk to your kids. If they go to somebody else's house, they'll be like, this is a little bit different the way they do things in this house. And so that's okay. Own the traditions in your own household. In our house, our boys didn't spend the night at other kids' houses. They just never did. And they would say sometimes, how come we don't spend the night at other boys' houses, but all my friends are spending the night at each other's house? We said, well, that's what we do. We're different. This is our family. This is the way that the Hancocks do things. And so it's okay to establish that. Say this. So who's with me? The people who follow after our rules. People who behave the way that we do. That's our family. This is the way that we do things. We're establishing you're a part of this thing that's bigger than you, and we have our own set of rules. And then what is our mission? Well, clearly, when you're leading a household, particularly with boys, if you're taking on something, everything should be an adventure. It should be a mission. You got two boys, 5, 6 years old, and they ask you to go to the water fountain. Your yes is a starter's pistol. It's like it's going to turn into a race, and that's okay. So when we homeschooled our boys, we turned these things into competition, because boys are drawn to competitions. So when you take a math lesson, or you take a reading lesson, or you take a spelling lesson, and you turn it into a mission, that has a lot more magic for a boy. So in a household, we can convert these 3 questions in the way that we conduct ourselves as fathers, as leaders of the household, the way that we establish the boundaries and the culture of our family, that's the who's with me, and the way that we instruct our boys in growing and in how we're going to engage ourselves, whether it's mowing the lawn or picking up the things in the garage or cleaning the room. We turn them into games and missions, and boys will throw themselves into the mission because they love the dopamine drop after a mission is accomplished. Who's in charge? Who's with me? What is our mission? Great operational questions for your family.